Hi everybody, this is Jaclyn Mullen. You are watching my YouTube channel and I am super excited about today's guest. I'm actually rolling out a series called She Shall Overcome, and the first interviewee in the series is none other than the freak truther, the badass, the dirty divine me creator, Christina Dunbar. Christina! Girl.
Yay! Oh my
We
God, so excited for this series. Yay!
We've been wanting to do an interview for a very long time. For those who don't know, because I haven't really talked about this on my YouTube interviews, but there is some footage on YouTube. I actually am a performing artist and I grew up singing and dancing. I've done stand-up comedy. And when I got into the entrepreneurial world, I was so focused on, trying to create revenue and trying to provide for myself that I sort of threw all that artist stuff away accidentally. And then I met Christina in LA, and she had this program called Artistpreneurs on Stage, and she brought me back up on the stage. She's helped me integrate my performing artist back into my brand. And for that, Christina, I am forever, forever indebted to you. You freaking rock. So you didn't just do this for me, you do this for several other women. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, if you don't
Hmm.
mind.
Yes, well, I found a lot of breakthroughs in my own life through performing on stage and really taking the stage with some of my stories, some of the things that I felt were shameful or different, or I just didn't quite fit in, and I had a lot of fear around being seen. I mean, I say that I felt like I would metaphorically be killed for speaking my truth. Because that truth felt very sexual and just kind of sassy and maybe not what society really accepts. So it just felt like I'd be rejected. And I had a lot of fear around this, and taking the stage with my story helped me so much. And that's why I called you in and a bunch of other women, and have been now, this is the third time running the program of putting women on stage to connect back, first of all, to their artists, because I believe a lot of us have this untapped self-expression that when we were children, we were just playing and having fun, and just that is artistry, just self-expression, really. And so I felt like so many women like you were super busy with whatever, being a career woman, being a mom, being a wife, and that this artist that we have access to, it brings us back to our soul and allows us to be joyful and nourishes our cup so that we can go out and do bold things in the world. So that was one part of it. And then I also wanted to help women that felt like they had some kind of fear or a story that they had locked up inside that they hadn't told a lot of people, and wanted to share it, because in the sharing there is so much healing, especially when we do it in sacred space. And the theater is such a beautiful space to just be out there and wild and share all your shit. And so it's been amazing to watch the transformations. You have really tapped into your artists. You had an amazing performance. And all of the women that have joined this program, what happens for them when they are brave enough to face their fear and do the, be fully expressed. And yes, I also have this Dirty Me Divine. So now I am coming full circle with been putting all this women on stage, been giving so many women love, and really it's my turn to tell my whole story. And so now, wow, that's been a journey. I can share a lot around.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
We'll get into, I feel like here's the beautiful thing with regard to women, or here's the beautiful thing with regard to people. Some of us do have stories that are very painful, sad, traumatic. Some of us have stories that are very happy. Some of us have stories that are what we might judge as basic stories, but we all have something to share. And one of the things that I've noticed, Christina, that's been a theme, particularly as we evolve more towards the internet being a stage. That's one of the things I truly believe, like the internet is a stage, is this hesitation from people wanting to put themselves out there. So you create this one woman show. You put women out on this stage. You have a background in performing arts. For someone who has maybe never stepped foot on a stage before, but feels like they have something to share, what's one thing they can do to be more confident today?
Yeah. So I'm a big believer in the actual experience is what gives you confidence. And I know for me, I was stuck for so long in the good girl persona where I was waiting to be perfect, waiting to do the thing I wanted to do, waiting to get it right, waiting to build confidence. And what I found was that most of my life I ended up waiting and I ended up hiding. And for me, the big shift, the big breakthrough came when fear and all, I mean, literally like pinky fingers trembling when I would have to take the stage or even raise my hand in a small group of women and speak up, like so afraid. But the big breakthrough came when I did it anyway. And what built my confidence was just taking actions day after day, facing my fear and being with the fear. What I teach women in the Artistpreneur on Stage program, we're gonna have fear, and we put a whole label, and especially as women, we put a whole story around it. You know, that fear means I'm somehow not good enough, or I'm not ready, or whatever the story may be. But fear is just it's just energy that is moving through our body. It's a signal that we are alive and we can feel, and I still feel very alive when I get up on the stage, and it's okay. I've just learned how to be present with that. The more comfortable you can be with getting uncomfortable in your body, the more you can just allow those sensations to be and take action. That is what will build your confidence.
That was incredible. Fear is a signal that we're alive. I don't think I've ever heard it that way, but hearing it that way allows you instantly to almost want to love that fear or nurture it or take it from being this negative thing and turn it into a positive. So thank you for that. Now, Dirty Me Divine. All right, let's talk about, number one, how this piece came about. It's inspired by your true life story. So give us a little bit of details and context for people who aren't familiar with you with regard to that. And then I want to ask you about the stepping into the fear process with releasing the show in different stages. So first, background context, Dirty Me Divine, girl.
Yeah, Dirty Me Divine is the story of how I navigated the journey on being a woman. And it starts off with me. I was very connected to my good girl, my people pleaser, my perfectionist when I was younger, and it shares the good girl ballerina. And I grew boobs at 15 and had to quit ballet, and that's when a lot of confusion started around being a woman. All these conflicting messages about being sexual, not being too sexual, all these men giving me attention. I didn't know what to do with it, and I ended up slowly taking the journey, and I became an exotic dancer because, it was really easy for me. I was in Hollywood, I was 20 years old, I was like trying to make it, but didn't have money, and because I had started to base a lot of my worth on my looks, just because of the attention and because of the confusion, it was quite easy for me to get into that world. And I found in that world, I explored my sacred prostitute, you might call her, which is an archetype. I explored my huntress, the animal inside of me. I explored the sexual woman inside of me. And a lot of shadow, a lot of pain, was very stuck for a very long time, actually physically developed ovarian pain, which was from the weight of the shame of my story, like that I was living this life that I didn't feel proud of.
Did people know in your circle? Like did your family know, or was this something that you just held very closely to the vest? And if your family knew, did you feel like, how did you still, because it took confidence with your family knowing to still be able to do that. You know what I mean? So that strength and that archetype that you had was there. How was it like to handle that?
Yeah, my parents knew, and maybe my cousin. I don't know that really maybe people guessed, maybe, but we didn't talk about it. And not a lot of my circle knew. It took a lot for me to tell one of my best friends. And that's actually when I started my healing journey I just highly recommend finding women in your life that will be a mirror for your greatness, because our greatness is just intrinsic. It doesn't matter what we're doing. We are beautiful souls. And so the first step was sharing with one of my dearest friends, and she just held such space for me and really healed a lot. And so not a lot of people knew. And for me, a big shift came when I started to look at my life as a sacred contract, that this path I was on that was really stuck in for so long, like my head could not think my way out of how would I get out of this. The money was good and I just felt like bills, and I was like, what else am I going to do? Like could not think my way out of it. And that's when I went more to the spiritual path and looking at symbolism and looking at people like Joseph Campbell and Carolyn Mace. And it was like, well, what is the myth that my life is? And if my life were legendary, how can I take this experience and turn it into part of my purpose? And while I was dancing, I remember deciding that one day, I remember it so clearly. I was like, one day I'm going to use this story, this pain. I was in so much pain, like literally. I just hated myself for a long time. And I remember deciding, like, I'm going to use this story to empower and touch other women somehow. This is not just for me. Like, there's no way all of this personal pain is just for me. And that was huge. Huge.
And to even be able to share that on our interview, like on a video, there's going to be somebody who's watching this who I hope will be able to find some strength by what you're sharing, because it takes a lot of courage to, like you said, share with your friends, forgive yourself, love yourself. That's what this is all about. Like, we talk about judging others and how we shouldn't judge others, but sometimes we are our own worst critics and we judge ourselves. So all of this then becomes this material for this play. And at what point how did you end up leaving the industry and then deciding to say, I need to just not only share this with women, socially, but I need to like get up on a stage and share this with women around the world?
I'm not quite sure. I feel like towards the end of my dancing career, I started to already write the story. Like, I was like, okay, this isn't just for me. I want to share it with other women. I want to touch other women. How am I going to do it? And for me, art and writing and expression has always been the outlet. So I was like, okay, this is a one-woman show. Like, there's a lot here to tell. And, I started with a book. That's what it was. I started writing a book, but my head logically was like, write a book, but my heart was like, I want to get on stage, and I miss performing. And so I started writing the story, and I didn't know the ending yet because I was still dancing when I first started writing it. It took me years to write this and finish the show. So yeah, that's how it started, way back when.
Seed of inspiration was planted. And I think that's something also that's important for people to remember, that you might have an idea that gets inspired and you can't let that idea slip through your hands, or if you can't, make that idea a reality as fast as you would like, trust the process. And I love how you always exemplify that you listen to your heart. So logically, you specifically said your mind was like, I need to do this, but your heart was like, no, it needs to be a play. And so I just want to encourage any women who might feel the conflict right now with regard to a decision that you're making. Maybe it's with regard to your career or a relationship. Go with what, your heart is saying you need to do, even if it might be scary. It might require some confidence. So now here we are. You've taken an idea, you've left behind this industry, and you are getting ready to like take the stage and share your story. So it's one thing to actually take this experience that you've had and put it down into a play, but now you have to like make it happen with production, with, a venue. And so you have chosen Kickstarter, right, to fundraise for this campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Before you started, because you're in the midst of the Kickstarter campaign, what fears did you have come up that you've sort of worked through, and how were you able to work through those fears?
It's funny, I had more fears come up in the process. Like before I started, I'm like, I'm going for it. Let's do this. All right, come on. And that's normally how I am. I get super excited and I'm like, balls to the wall. Let's do this thing. And then
And then,
and then like I had to really, God, I was stretched in so many ways. Like the fear of constantly reaching out to people and asking them to support this and to donate. And actually recently reaching out to women and asking them to donate at the $100 level, like specifically asking that, going, oh my God, these women might think I'm crazy. Like, what are they going to think? They're already supporting me in this and that way. So much like, oh, again, it's that people pleaser in me of like, I don't want them to think this, and this. I did have a breakthrough around it though last week where I just got really clean and clear with my why. And my why is what I constantly come back to, is that this is my gift to women. It's my way of giving, and it just happens to be through art. Every person has a unique way of giving, whatever your gift is. And it's really whatever you love to do. That is your gift to the world. I mean, I just believe a fully expressed woman is a gift to the world. And so just coming back to that why, and then also like, okay, giving women enough faith that they are clear and clean in their energy, that they don't have to donate if they don't want to, or if they're not feeling called, and that they have the right to say no. And it just felt good, like simplify it. It's all clean, it's all clear. I don't have to put so much on it. But that was one of the fears that came up. There's the fear of like, well, you're putting all this energy in and you're not going to raise the money. That fear hasn't come up so much, because I'm kind of like, you just don't know till the very end. But it's a risk you take with Kickstarter. It's all or nothing. And so of course that just kind of is like, it's just present. And honestly, sharing my story has been healing. Like that hasn't been the biggest fear. It's been really healing to actually explore this theme even more of my sexuality and what I feel is really right for me. And talking about it has helped me process and deepen it even more. And so I'm just like grateful for that, really grateful for that.
So for somebody who is currently sitting heavy with a story or something they feel like they need to share, it sounds to me like the encouragement is, number one, if you share it, you don't have to, but if you choose to, you may find some healing in the process of doing it, which I think is beautiful. And I've actually personally experienced that myself, especially going through your program and everything. And then the second thing was, I loved how you gave us the example of getting really specific and asking for what you need and what you want, but giving the people that you're asking, releasing or detaching from the outcome or what they might say. It's what you need and what you want. So if you need or you want something, ask for it, but don't put any attachment or judgment based upon the feedback. And that was like the third thing that I heard you say, which was, if somebody, it's not that they may not be feeling it. There's so many variables that could be going into why they may not do something. So it's, instead of you being the mind reader, you just being okay with the fact that you're taking the action, like you said, and asking. And I think that's great. And what are, some other confidence tips? Because you do a lot of work with women. I keep seeing, like I said, this thread of I'm getting angry at myself, or I'm frustrated with myself because I want to be doing this, but I'm scared. So to those women, what do you say?
Well, for me personally, it started with a decision, like an internal decision before I could go into action. Action is really the last step. We have to internally decide. And I believe when we make a really clear yes to ourselves, whether that's through journaling or having accountability with other women or just stating it to the universe, like, I'm fucking ready to do this. It starts that in that place of alignment. And then the action becomes the next step. It still might feel really scary. It did for me. But I believe taking a conscious moment a day, however long you really need, but consciously saying yes to your desire and consciously exploring your why. Because when you come back to why it is you're so passionate about this thing and really feel that in your body, like, let that be so present for you. Let yourself get emotional. Let yourself really journal and write about it and go there and explore that why really, really fully. It helps you to get to that yes. And so that, to me, is one of just the first things I'd invite women to try.
I love this reminder. And I say, action is the last step. The decision comes first. So that is beautiful. Now I'm going to put you on the spot because I love to do that. And I'm going to ask you to ask us for what you need. How can we support you? Somebody who's watching this who really resonates with what you're doing and what you're sharing. What do you need from us with regard to Dirty Me Divine or Christina Dunbar's world? We're here for you, girl.
Thank you. Well, it's all about the Kickstarter right now. I don't know when you're going to be airing this, but December 14th is the last day Kickstarter will close.
Okay.
So if you go to Kickstarter.com and search Dirty Me Divine and donate and share again, and that's it. That's what will make this happen, is as many women and men too. Like, I really would love to call some men in to this movement. And I have some that are supporting me big time. If it speaks to you, please share, because it's going to take that energy of like sharing, which is starting to happen a lot now, that will help tip it over the edge. And it's happening. So yeah, that's my request. Thank you very much.
We will honor it. So you said share and share. So share with your friends and family who are female. Share with the men that you know in your life, so we get that male-female balance. Donate if you can. Christina.
And the other thing is, there are some really cool, if you're donating, I mean, I don't privately coach anymore. I just do my on stage, but I have a really fantastic deal for private coaching. I mean, you're not just donating, like, you get some really amazing goodies there. So check them out. Yeah.
It's that Sierra song. I heard you want my goodies, but you thought about it. I'm a little hoarse today, so don't mind. This is not the performing artist Jaja. See? Yes. Got you all hot and bothered.
Na, 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 na.
All right. How do we know if you make the goal? How do we keep up with you?
Well, when you donate, you're going to be on the list, and I've been emailing out what's going on? Here's the journey. Also, if you just want to stay in touch with me and join my community, you can go to ChristinaDunbar.com, and I just send blogs out and LA events out. So that's another way to stay in touch. Yeah.
I love it. And let me tell you, everybody, Christina, like I said, is somebody who can seriously change your life. So Christina, thank you so much for being here today. We're going to get that Kickstarter link up. I'm keeping my fingers and my toes crossed that we help you reach this goal. And my name is Jaclyn Mullen. For those of you that want to follow me on social media, I'm at Jaclyn Mullen. That's JaclynMullen. You can get a glimpse into my world on Instagram. I'm also at Jaclyn Mullen on Instagram. And as I said throughout this interview, I am a performing artist turned entrepreneur with this series called She Shall Overcome. And I believe that the internet is a stage, and you got to leave your heart on that stage. So Christina, thank you for doing just that today with everybody who's going to be watching. Until next time, bye.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you. It's Jaja signing off, girl.